Alrighty, guys, thank you very much for joining us for this Chair League match. I am Jason, your host. Division 1 match we got here, Flex Luthor versus the Regulators. Should be quite a good one here on Cursed Hollow. And as you guys can see, the draft is underway. Welcome to our new drafting tool. It is going to be Chair League draft style. Got these cool cards that flip over. If you guys haven't seen it before, yesterday was my first pleasure where I figured out a few things about it. So we're gonna see Samuru is gonna be banned out right away from Flex Luthor, not playing around with that guy, and it makes sense. He is a little bit OP right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll tell you what, Morales healing, and all of a sudden, he pops that ult, and there are just swords flying everywhere, and Vala or Kerrigan die. I couldn't stop it. I could stop one, but I could not stop two. It was ugly. But Malfurion will be the ban out from the Regulators, denying the best healer in the game. And ETC will be the pickup here for Flex Luthor. So instantly going with the new ETC, prioritizing him very highly in this draft. And it makes sense. With that stage dive, he's very good on this map. He has the ability to go out there and get solid denial on the tributes. That is, however, going to press Flex Luthor into a Zarya pick here, which means that Tychus is going to be quite the highly contested hero at this point. We'll have to see if the Regulators do decide to pick up Tychus to go with their shiny new Zarya. Could be a good pickup for them. Could be an opportunity to take that. But we'll have to see where they go with it. They are going to instead choose Vala, so another good auto attack damage dealer that does have Giant Killer, which is good against double tank, but normally when we're seeing Zarya come out, it is going to be in a double tank format, so Tychus is a very highly contested hero whenever we see Zarya. So much better than heroes. I have to agree with Prof in there. It's really, really nice. I haven't had the opportunity to use it. That's going to be tonight, in about an hour, actually. Cutting it a little closer than I'd like, but make sure we got this match in tonight. And it is going to be Brightwing. So right away, Flex Luthor is going to go ahead and pick up probably the best healer on this map, other than Malfurion, who's kind of the best healer on everything. But the global presence of Brightwing and the good sustained healing that comes with it, and man, Johanna. Such a tanky build so far for Flex Luthor. You almost think that has to proc out Tychus ban. I feel like there's a hidden Easter egg somewhere in the field that nobody's picked and nobody's banned just yet. A lot of this format lately has been built around him. But ultimately with big double tank there, I would suspect the Tychus ban, but also they haven't picked up an auto dealer yet, so we'll have to see which one of these teams do decide to plus you wouldn't expect the Regulators to pick up necessarily Tychus with a Vala, but could always happen. But they also could try to apply the auto chokehold here by banning him out themselves. Lunar are also not terrible on this map. Also another good auto dealer. We got a lot of good sustain in the game right now. I feel like this is the time of the sustain damage, but they're going to select to ban out the burst damage in Li Ming, which is pretty interesting. I feel like Li Ming is pretty well countered by Brightwing, or is a pretty good counter for Brightwing. Brightwing with those sustained heals just cannot quite keep up with the burst potential of Li Ming, so they're going to elect to not even attempt to get Li Ming here. They're going to go ahead and just ban her out instead. And the Tychus ban very predictably does come out there to avoid the counter from that huge Johanna and ETC combined health pool. Worse than Cho'Gall. Well, I actually don't know if it's worse than Cho'Gall, but it could be worse than Cho'Gall. There aren't two other heroes in the game that could, or there aren't a whole lot of other heroes in the game that could combine as two and maybe have the Cho'Gall health pool. But oh, and look at that, Sumozuki is up on my screen. That's my mistake. Apologize for that. I was messing with the UI yesterday, and I wanted to make sure I could fit Sumo in there still, but Not here with me tonight. It is going to be Leoric and Ariel joining us on the other hand, though. So we do have, again, that double front line. It is going to be Leoric and Zarya. Ariel going to be picked up as a sustained heal. So with Malfurion out, the next two best sustained healers, and probably the next two best two healers in the game, period, are going to be Brightwing and Ariel. So we see them coming out. Ariel going to be fed by that Vala very nicely throughout the match, is what I would expect, unless they want to try and pick up something a little bit more bursty. And does leave them open, pretty well open for what they might want to pick for the slots pick. They could decide to go with a third frontliner and be super divey, super aggro. They could also elect to go for a second support, but probably will go with a second damage dealer for the last one. So what if Flex Luthor want in this scenario? They need damage, and they're gonna get it from Greymane. An interesting pickup. Greymane's fallen off a little bit lately. We don't see as much Greymane play. Still one of the most high cap heroes in the game. The learning curve's high, but the payoff can be pretty great with the ability to relocate and move around in a lot of those situations. So we'll have to see here. Last pick, they do still have the opportunity to pick up more damage. They don't have any burst damage, but it's not really been a burst damage format. Really, it's been a double tank with sustained healer, sometimes even two healers, or a healer and then like an off healer that can contribute but still does a lot of damage. So they could still use one more ranged damage dealer. Lunara still on the table. Tyrande still on the table if they wanted to go that route, but they are going to go with Jaina. So the one true burst damage dealer that's really survived, other than Li Ming, it's Jaina and Li Ming format right now. So they are going to elect to go with the Jaina. With that double front line, probably pretty confident that they can get in and get some pretty value rings. And Kael'thas is going to come out here from the side of the Regulators. We don't see a whole lot of KT play nowadays, but he is pretty good on this map. He does have the ability to deny and poke from a good range and get a lot of damage out. He also can be a good contributor to Ariel's energy pool. However, I still think Vala, there's a big raging debate between me and one of my teammates about which one is just realistically better in terms of feeding Ariel's energy, whether it's the sustained damage, like something you get from Vala, or the burst damage, like something you get from Kael. But I've always been a fan of the sustained, constant energy rolling in, rather than the energy rolling in off of those particular cooldowns that just burst on in. So apparently that timer was messed up. That's interesting. But I think everybody got the heroes they wanted, and we're getting everything ready in here. So as far as draft goes, I really like the draft that we're seeing coming out here from Flex Luthor. I think Jaina, Greymane, again, not the most meta hero right now. I feel like he definitely has fallen off. Definitely fallen off quite a bit, but does have the ability to jump in there and get finishes, particularly if we can get a ton of damage out of Jaina. But we'll see how that works out. ETC and Johanna are going to be the frontliners that are going to be able to zone out really, really well. You want to talk about a pair of heroes that have good solid CC, good solid zoning. Brightwing also has the ability to get some quality CC in there with Polymorph, so Zarya is going to have to look out for that. Leoric, of course, doesn't care as much about dying, but Zarya is going to be possibly having some hard time with the lockdown potential that we see for Flex Luthor, but there is some CC potential also on the side of the Regulators. Leoric has that slow, Ariel with the whips and the many walls that appear on this map. And of course, KT does have his own stun, be able to follow himself up, and Vala could quite possibly go Rain in this situation to get a little extra CC out. Both teams have drafted pretty solid groups. Again, the one worry I have is that front line for the side of Flex Luthor being able to most likely dominate the front line of the side of the Regulators. Zarya and Leoric don't have a whole lot of peel potential. So So I'm a little worried about the walk-in potential to be able to get to Vala, Ariel, and KT. See if that does end up being the case. Ultimately on this map, it's all about the poke, the stall potential, and just in general being able to CC and or to just be able to sustain in those situations. It does look like we got I do think it does look like we were having a little bit of a bio break situation going on here, but there we go. We are ready to go. Loading in here on Cursed Hollow. It is going to be Flex Luthor versus the Regulators. Let's get this all swapped over for you guys. On the left, we are going to have Flex Luthor. Toza? That's what I'm going to go with. Toza on Greymane. Nimbler a bit on ETC. Penguin on Jaina. And we have Prof. Billy Ray on Johanna. And Lemmingway on Brightwing. On the right, we have the Regulators. It's going to be Rupp on Zarya. Innate Dog is going to be playing Leoric. ST Monkeys will be on Kael'thas. Terrax on Vala. And Noir is going to be playing Ariel. Haven't had a whole lot of a chance to cast for Flex Luthor, so it'll be interesting to see their playstyle. Don't get to see them a whole lot. But I've gotten to cast quite often for the Regulators. Pretty solid team. We see a lot of good, solid, coordinated team play coming out of them. Something you really need, particularly when you're running that Ariel in your comp. You have to definitely be on the same page, be willing to stack and ready to go. We do see right away that Crown is coming out on Vala. So I think Noir is on my side with that sustained damage. Both teams just kind of poking about here in the mid. We do see the shields coming out right away for Zarya. Rupp getting fed just a little bit from that Nate Dog shield, but Nate Dog getting very low. Goza goes ahead and comes in and gets some damage out on him. Quoza, Toza. Oh, it does start with a Q, so I think maybe I should just go with Quoza. We do see the rotations starting to happen a little bit quicker on the side of Flex Luthor at this point, with Quoza up in that top lane. But Terrax and Noir are going to go ahead and rotate up here to answer. Meanwhile, Nibbler is going to get out there and be able to get Rupp isolated a little bit, but Rupp will be able to move his way on through there. It does take a lot of harass, but ultimately does get on out. ST Monkeys starting to try and build up that convection. Get those stacks on Flame Strike to be able to increase that. Well, look at this, feigned rotation here. They are just waiting for Rupp to come out. Ultimately, Rupp doing a nice job of playing safe, though. Is not going to be caught out in that situation. However, Nate Dog is in a little bit deep, so right away we do see that coming out. And the slide, a little bit too early to be able to catch out Nate Dog. Noir, however, we caught out just a tiny bit trying to help out Nate. Nothing they can't handle. They do end up pushing back. And again, Noir still able to get a lot of value, I think, off of ST Monkeys and that KT pick. As long as the spells drop, though, however, the Q is indeed a skill shot, and completely whiffing there, but we'll get a decent amount still from that. Nate Dog actually going to go back, figuring he needs a little bit of mana. This could be a very long tribute phase. Brightwing staying up in that top lane. Lemmingway going to get a little extra soak before the phase shift down comes on in. Meanwhile, both teams just kind of posturing for this. But it is eventually going to be the Regulators that go in and start to cast on this. And nice zoning here from the side of the Regulators, as ST Monkeys is actually going to be really close to getting this. And he does cast it right away. It does look like that Flex Luthor elected to not rotate to this. So that's going to be first tribute going over to the side of the Regulators. But a little bit of extra soak advantage, particularly in this top lane. We got the siege camp pushing. But going to be quickly answered to by Terax. However, Quoza is going to come up here, get working on that a little bit as well. Well, in the mid lane, got the two tanks just kind of going back and forth on this one, so a whole lot crazy is going to go on there. Oh, but Rupp getting dived on here. Meanwhile, Penguin actually in deep. ST Monkeys with the nice response there to be able to pressure Jaina out of that situation. Not only saving Rupp, but is going to pick up a pick himself. That's going to be first blood going over to the side of the Regulators, as Rupp going to get a little bit of extra shield help there from the towers and soak the last bit of those cannon shots. Meanwhile, ETC is staying a little bit long here in this bottom lane. Ultimately is going to be late on this rotation. However, should still be on time to be able to affect it here, as the poking has begun here by the side of Flex Luthor. However, positional advantage for the Regulators. They also left KT in a little while longer, but Terax in a lot of trouble on that back line, having to step back, trying to get some heals from Noir here. Rupp starting to get low, but those shields are having an impact. And Johanna's actually going to get blown up by that flame strike on the inside there. Now all of a sudden, the Regulators are coming back. They're back in business for this. And it does look like the side of Flex Luthor are going to back off without Johanna. That's going to be the second tribute going over to the side of the Regulators. A little bit late on that rotation. And we did start to see that front line walking through a little bit. But ultimately, a nice job by Terax and ST Monkeys punishing them for walking through in that situation. You also do get a lot of extra advantage, a lot of extra damage out of Zarya, especially when she's got those shields at full. When that energy is fully charged, it's really, really hard to get anything done. She doesn't peel in the traditional sense of a tank, but with that damage, can at least punish heroes that jump in too deep. And right away, you can see it here as just focusing on Quoza. In a sense, does peel off of Terax, and a nice vault there, just staying in front of that slide from Nibbler. Gonna get Terax out of that situation long enough for Noir to get that energy back, top the team off. Meanwhile, ST Monkeys is all alone on this thing. He's gonna get this cast started, and I don't think there's anything that anybody can do about this. And indeed, the rotation is too late. That's a pretty big misplay. Free curse. Going over to the side of Regulators, they didn't have level 10 yet. There was no real reason for Flex Luthor to back off of that and give it up for free. But they do indeed doing just that. End up doing just that, as Terax is going to have free push here in the top. 3-man rotation to the mid to start and pressure the front wall. Meanwhile, Quoza on the run here from Rupp, and that constant poke, being able to slowly but surely take down that health. Front wall in a lot of trouble. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, the Orc versus Brightwing, so Nate Dogg's going to have a field day working on this. Meanwhile, Rupp is isolated a bit here, but Noir doing a nice job getting those heals out. Level 10s have been picked up as well, so they got to be worried about the turn here. ST Monkeys in a lot of trouble. Jaina is actually going to end up going down. So that's going to be third kill going over to the side of the Regulators as they're taking advantage of this level 10. Nate Dogg actually going to completely isolate Prof with that wall, allowing for the setup and the CC combo to come in, and not the target you usually see isolated out so much, but all of a sudden Johanna's having a pretty rough game here.
Red team has destroyed a fort.
And all 3 forts are down at this point for the side of Flex Luthor, so some nice solid value coming out there from the Regulators in this situation. They take that curse and they're going to use it to their advantage to the fullest here to go ahead and get a nearly 2-level lead. Once these lanes are pushed out, I suspect it won't be quite that far, but still quite a solid advantage coming out from them in the first half of this match. This is, of course, their map choice, so definitely getting some solid value thus far. I'm going to go ahead and sync up these camps pretty nicely. Meanwhile, Boss is being started here from the side of Flex Luthor. It does look like it's going to be scouted out by Nate Dogg, but or maybe not. He's just going to go ahead and rotate to that mid lane. It does look like this could be taken for free, but on the other side, we do see the Regulators taking their own boss, so nothing too crazy. They're just going to trade at this point. Nate Dogg's going to get a little extra pressure in this mid lane. Meanwhile, the top lane being pressured by the siege camp. It's nothing they can't. Both teams can't clean up pretty quickly. Rotation coming in here from the side of Flex Luthor as they do rotate in on Nate Dogg, but ultimately he will go ahead and use that ghost walk away. Oh, and the isolation, actually, the turn here from Nate Dogg does entomb in a few. See if they can't get that, and again, Johanna just so low in this situation. Is going to be trying to run away here, but the stun will just barely hit, and that is going to be enough for the finishing blow there. Gotta love that feeling from ST Monkeys there when he's walking away, realizing that that entire health bar is green, and it's just a matter of time before that Johanna goes down. As we do see Nibbler getting isolated a little bit, he will slide his way into safety as they aid the push of this boss to get most of that front wall down. Ganon almost gone, but does look like they are retreating in this situation as Johanna's coming back up, and they're wanting to try to zone for this tribute if they can. Meanwhile, the slide in from Nibbler here. Again, trying to isolate to that back line. However, they are focusing really hard on Prof. Billy Ray. This may not actually turn out well for them this time around, as we do see the turn and the slide getting a good solid CC out, but Zarya will be the first one to fall. However, focusing yet again as Prof. Billy Ray does go down, but but it is a 2-for-1 exchange here. Both frontliners have gone down for the side of the Regulators, but Lemmingway so low here in the back, and the poking continues as Noir is going to get caught out in this situation, getting it a little far, but Quosa also going to go down here as went in a little bit too far against those two damage dealers. So the fight raging on at this point. Leoric is also back in the situation. So we're actually going to see the Regulators capping yet another one. I thought that fight was over. The frontliners had gone down, but we have a quick moment to breathe here. Let's check out these heroics. Expulsion zone coming out from Zarya. So we're going to see some zoning potential there from Rupp, being able to pick up these tributes. Pretty much everything's what you would expect. Entomb, Phoenix, Rain, and Aegis. Meanwhile, go for the throat. Stage dive, which has been the standard pickup lately for most ETC players. Ring coming out from Jaina. Blessed Shield. And it is going to be Emerald Wind coming out from the Brightwing. Nibbler completely isolated in this situation. That is going to be an impossible situation for him to escape. Probably didn't need the Entomb, but you know, it's a short cooldown. Might as well make sure you secure yourself that that pick at this point. You see both teams go ahead and rotating out to pick up their camps. ST Monkeys soloing this thing like a boss, like KT does. Mid lane is going to be cleaned up. This tribute will be spawning in an advantageous situation here for the Regulators. Level 16 not quite picked up yet, so this is something that Flex Luthor does have the option to contest, and it does look like they're making a very strong rotation, but it is going to be scouted out. Very nice scout there from Rupp. We do see the poke potential coming out from Johanna. Does have good solid denial on these tribute phases. This is going to turn into a full-fledged team fight. Interesting positioning here from Flex Luthor, trying to find an opportunity to come down. The Emerald Wind does come out in the middle of that fight from Lemmingway, but taking a ton of harass from that Phoenix is going to have to back out of the situation and not enable those heals to come in as well. The stage dive comes in. Two-man ring with the slide. Very nice combo coming out, but the Crystal Aegis is going to come out to be able to save Noir and keep him in this fight. 3 members go down in this situation, and a lot of that off the back of Noir and that Aegis being able to keep himself alive in that situation, and not enabling Jaina to get the work done in there, and solid stacking potential from Ariel. Those stacked heals were enough to keep them alive in that situation. And yet again, we see another team fight where the Regulators come out on top. And it was a really, really nice collapse there from Lex Luthor, starting with that Emerald Wind, but the Phoenix in there just getting so much harass out, made it near impossible, nearly impossible for Lemmingway to stay in on that and get those tick heals that the team so desperately needed. When you're solo supporting in this kind of situation and you don't have blink heal, it makes it really, really hard to keep your team up over a long sustained fight. And there's no burst, well, there is burst potential with Jaina, but Quoza getting completely caught out here. Again, that Entomb, Nate Dogg just laying those things down and getting max value out of them, and the rotation is going to be a little bit late to be able to help him out, certainly. And Tribute is up, level 16 is up here, and this is Curse Point as this front wall being completely ripped apart by the side of the Regulators, and they're thinking about going in deep on this. They realize that they're up a talent here, and it is a 4v5. Ultimately, it does look like they're going to be patient. They're only going to fight this out in lane, and they are going to give Flex Luthor the opportunity to back away from the situation. Nibbler is going to come out a little bit. Crystal Aegis being dropped there on Terrax, being able to stall out long enough to get those heals. The Ring is going to come out and hit absolutely no one. The Entomb comes out along with Emerald Wind to try and isolate back. Noir is actually going to be the first one to fall in this situation as Quoza is back, but so many members of Flex Luthor are too low here to really be able to take advantage of it. But a nice pick, and that's going to get them level 16. So they defend the fort. Nate Dogg also is going to get picked here as well, it looks like. Going to be very close. But ultimately that Arcane Flare is at least enough to zone out. And it is going to be Quoza versus Rupp in this situation. Lemmingway phase shifting in to actually get that shield on him and be able to chase Ruff off in this situation. That is going to be the first Tribute going over to Flex Luthor in this game, and they'll be able to rotate to Boss. This is going to be scouted out by Nate Dogg, but not a whole lot he can do by himself, and the team does not appear to be rotating to it in this situation, which makes sense. Ariel is not here, and not really a whole lot they can do about it. We'll probably see a rotation from these guys to the other side of the map to go ahead and pick up their own boss. Prof Billy Ray doing a nice job scouting that out and making sure no one was coming. But however, boss is started on the other side, but here comes the full rotation. All 5 members rotating in a tight ball to be able to come towards this. They are going to be stalled out a little bit, but ultimately that is going to force the Regulators off of this. They are going to go ahead and team fight here, though. Jaina getting completely isolated and blow up very, very early in this fight, and that is going to proc an instant retreat. Most of the burst damage potential, all of the burst damage potential really, is on that Jaina. With that Jaina gone, there is nothing that Flex Luthor can do in this situation. They put all their eggs in that Jaina combo basket, and they know it. The instant retreat, that's pretty much everything in their basket being laid down there to be able to take out Jaina in that situation. And that was a rough moment for Flex Luthor in this match. The boss is still pushing in the bottom lane. However, the curse is going to be picked up. Jaina just now coming back. Those Siege Giants in the bottom will be able to help press against top lane a little bit. And the rotation coming in here from Flex Luthor, taking a look at this boss. But it's also looks like they're going to rotate and see if they can't get a pick out here. Rupp and Noir are isolated in this top lane, but it is the side of Flex Luthor that are cursed, not the other way around here. They can't really fight onto the tower, being able to be rotated on in this situation. Penguin still a little bit out here in this situation, but they don't have ETC. But that stage dive can come in from anywhere. It does look like the rotation is going to come to the middle for the side of the Regulators. They are looking for keeps at this point, and this middle keep is going to go down pretty much for free. Both teams at level 18 here, so this is still an even fight opportunity. But the rotation a little bit slow in here from Flex Luthor. Not able to save that, but they will be able to follow it up once it falls down. KT does get caught in that ring, but there's no follow-up on ST Monkeys. No other damage comes out to him. Terrax taking a little bit of harass, but nothing crazy. They are going to back off from the situation. They do feel like they got what they needed, so they don't really have to fight here. But have to see if they decide to turn at any point. Flex Luthor almost desperate for a fight here, realizing that level 10 is right around the corner. The regulators don't really have to fight in this situation, but that's all Flex Luthor wants. They want to fight as much as humanly possible. They want to force until level 20 is achieved, and these lanes are pretty far pushed out for the side of the regulators. So not a whole lot of safe soaking they can do, electing to give up this camp instead of forcing it, and even looking for boss at this point, as Rupp is going to get stunned by that slide, but able to get far enough out that, oh my goodness, the repulsion and the, what a crazy combo there. That repulsion and that entomb is going to, again, capture Jaina inside it and just completely annihilate her. Johanna also going down. To Leoric, NKT, Nibbler just holding on by just a hair here. Lemmingway, though, also being chased. Quoza isolated, and the chase is on here for the side of the regulators. Seeing if they can't chase down Quoza in this situation. They are indeed going to get him. And go for the throat. Not able to get him out of that situation. But long death timer there, as level 20 has been picked up. And now the regulators are going to go ahead and rotate to boss. They were very patient there. They did find the position that they needed. Rupp had gotten stunned in that situation, but they turned around and they hit that Entomb and Expulsion Zone combo very, very nicely to be able to win that fight. Yet again, they take down Jaina, and that is lights out for the side of Flex Luthor. That front line not being able to protect her thus far from that Leoric Zarya combo, making all the difference in the world here in the late game. The regulators have been winning in the team fight game all game long, and it's not changing much here in the back half. This top keep is definitely in a lot of trouble here. All 5 members rotating. Level 20 still is an advantage that they do have. They're looking for somebody to isolate here. Jaina staying back, working on the boss here, not focused too much on the team fight. The keep is definitely going to go down in this situation. But pick or two here could end up being boss. Level 20, so close. But Penguin gets caught yet again by that Entomb and is going to be completely blown up. And that is going to pretty much spell the end here as the rest of the team pushes in. They're going to take down Johanna next. Quoza isolated, will be able to roll out of harm's way, but the boss is on core. The damage is coming out. The GG is already being called as ST Monkey's able to take out Quoza in the back there. Level 20 never quite picked up for the side of Flex Luthor, and that is going to be it. The regulators sealing the deal here with the Leoric Zarya combo. Very, very nasty combo, just constantly being able to isolate Jaina, and that was really it. You know, they had put all their eggs in one basket, had Flex Luthor. As soon as Jaina went down, there was nothing they really could do after that point. Still top hero damage in the game, despite being focused on so much from the regulators, but just not quite enough. So that is going to do it for me, guys. Normally I would do a little bit more analysis work, but like I said, I got a match tonight, so I hope you guys can forgive me. But thank you very much for joining me here in Chair League, and I will see you guys next time.